Okay, let's give you guys some more examples. We've seen this example in the past. If you're trying to integrate x times cos of x, if you let u equals x here, then carrying out our process, by the time you get to u prime here, it becomes a lot simpler. It becomes a 1. So rather than integrating this, we would then integrate. All we need to do is try and concentrate on integrating this. This part will be easy. But this part here will become slightly easier than this. So if you're trying to integrate, let's say x to the power 5, if you let u to be x to the power 5, then carrying out our process, by the time it gets to u prime, it will be x to the power 4. So rather than trying to integrate x to the power 5, we would then try and integrate this because it's slightly easier, and then we would repeat this process again. You see what I mean later on as time goes on. But the hard part when you're trying to integrate something like this, the hard part is in deciding whether to make this a u or whether to make this a u. Well, if you make this to be a u, then by the time it gets if you make this to be a u here, by the time it gets to u prime, then this will be minus sine of x, which doesn't really make it easier. If you have x to the power 3, you see, if you make u to be this, then by the time it gets to u prime, then it's slightly easier. It will be x squared. But then if you have, say, if you have sine here, if you let u to be sine of x, then by the time it gets to u prime, it doesn't become any simpler. It will be cos of x. It doesn't. So when you're faced with something like this, try to make u in such a way that by the time it gets to u prime, it becomes simpler. You see what I mean when you look at the next example. So let's say you're trying to integrate this. You see, if you make this u to be this, then by the time it gets to u prime, then it will be 2x here. It would be something along the line of x, and then you would repeat the process. So let me give you an example. Oh, if you make this to be your u, by the time it gets to u prime, nothing has changed. It's still e to the x. You see, given a choice of making this a u or this a u, if you make this to be a u, then by the time it gets to u prime, it will be one notch simpler than x squared. It will be something along the line of x. I will show you this example here. So we are going to try and integrate this here. So let u equals x squared. So let u equals x squared. Well, if u is x squared, then u prime must be 2x. And then let v prime be this thing here. So we're just following up our normal process. If v prime equals x e to the x, then v will be e to the x. So now just follow our normal routine. U times v. So this is u. So that would be this times v. Well, v is this thing here. So that would be e to the x. And then we've got a minus here. So it would be minus, and then the integral of u prime here. So u prime would be here. U prime would be here, and then normal v here. So that would be e to the x, and then this dx here. So rather than trying to integrate this here, we would try and integrate this. You see, this is slightly easier here. We've got an x here. This here is a constant, so let's take it out. Okay. So from here, we would get to. So earlier we were here. Now we would get to here. Okay. So now repeat the process. So we were trying to integrate this. Well, integrating this would give us this thing minus the minus 2 times the integral of this. So now repeat the process on this part only. Okay, and then later we can put it back in here. So looking at this part here, let's try and integrate this. So integrating, if you try and integrate this, do you make this to be your u, or do you make this to be your u? Well, in this case, you should make this to be your u, because by the time it gets to u prime, then it would be 1. It would be slightly easier. Well, let's try and integrate this. So integrating this would be, hang on. So now we are just trying to integrate this part here. Okay, we are just trying to integrate this here. Later on, we will put it back in here. Okay, so we are currently at this stage here, but let's just concentrate on this part here. Okay, so concentrating on that part. So let u equals this. So if u equals x, then u prime equals 1. If v prime equals this thing here, then v equals e to the x. Now put everything back into here. So u here would be x. That's this bit here, and then v here would be e to the x here. You've got your minus here. So that's this minus, and then the integral of u prime. Well, u prime is 1, so it's going to be a 1 here, and then the v here would be e to the x, and then this dx here is dx here. So now we can integrate this easily. So from here we would get to here. We would get to here. Okay, so this part only integrates to this bit here. So now, hang on. So earlier we got to this stage here. And then I said repeat the process on this stage on this part only. So while integrating this part only would give us this thing here. Okay, so now we can put So integrating this only would give us this thing here. So overall, this whole thing here will become this thing here. So tidying it up will give us this. Will give us this. So overall, the answer is this. Okay.